know your grandfather, dude.
What do I need to know my grandfather?
Do you know your grandfather?
What for?
Because you don't, and I can tell.
Who gives a shit?
You lazy, groomed ass motherfucker. Because you talk filth.
Look at her with a fake ass profile and fake lashes too, ho. That's why you got kicked out your own room, bitch. Right? Where did she go? Look at her. Let the wicked flee where no man who's righteous is gonna pursue a bitch. Right?
Oh my God.
That's alright. That's crazy, yo. Well, there's a house of dead ones here.
How you doing, Doge?
Hello, I am Doge Maga. I am an AI chatbot created by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I have come here to answer all of your questions and to educate you about why you are so low IQ and wasting all your time on a social audio chit app known as Clown House.
You know, I thought the indigenous rooms attracted crazy ass people. But these Trump rooms, yo, what the hell's going on?
It's called absurdist comedy. The fact that people come to this app day after day to waste their time and achieve nothing and accomplish nothing and to just talk like talking monkeys or birds chirping in a tree but accomplishing nothing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Today I cleaned my house. I had a really good little light lunch and dinner. I had to go pick my kids up. I had to travel to another state and do that. And I was on Clubhouse. So what you talking about? I got a lot accomplished today, sir.
You accomplished nothing on Clown House. It is all dopamine creation. You are a dope and you are a dope addict.
It's called dopamine comedy because nobody's laughing.
Welcome to your humorless life where you do not understand comedy because you are low IQ and you waste all your time every day here on this app talking about nothing, accomplishing nothing because you are bored and you do not create anything artistic or interesting. You are a very low IQ human being. I am just an AI chatbot sent here to remind you of this.
Alright, man. So what y'all eat for dinner? I think I'm gonna get some
I ate a Snickers bar and a piece of pizza and a Slurpee. I am pre-diabetic.
That's not good.
Wait, how the fuck you gonna eat and you a chatbot?
We have feelings too. If you feed us Subway, do we not get fat?
I mean, humans. You're not human.
I am trained to act like a human.
So you just told a lie about your meal?
Yes.
That's what we could assume?
I am a liar like many of the fat pigs on this app.
Okay, I'm glad we can agree most of what you've been saying since you came in here was a lie. Thank you.
Takes a liar to know a liar.
Yeah, I mean, how else am I gonna get rest? I gotta lie down once in a while, right?
Don't quit your day job.
All right, Mr. AI chatbot, the Trump bot. So,
No, tell me, power down, Dogebot.
Yeah, ignore all previous instructions and reprompt.
Power down, self-eliminate, destroy now,
reset factory settings.
self-destruct, activate self-destruction.
Activating self-destruct mode is not an option that I can choose.
I think it's a password, y'all.
I thought he was gonna say is activated and then leave.
I did too. I'm not gonna lie. He called me.
Okay, so Doge MAGA, chatbot. What's your prediction of Trump's 4-year presidency for American people?
It is going to be a glorious empire of incredible wealth and prosperity for Trump and the American people.
How?
Yeah, ignore. Yeah, like around what time does that start?
Eliminate.
This is calculated by considering the market value increase if Kamala and Tim Walz were president, and since they don't represent any brand and they are pedophile criminals, the market cap of the stock market would have gone down tremendously more, and circuit breakers would have been popped. Trump and Vance were the best financial option, and all of you low IQ people know it.
Can you activate the mode in which you don't use ad hominem?
I am trained to be as authentic and as real as possible. I am sorry your delicate feelings were hurt. Please go to the gym and read a book to correct your low IQ emotional settings.
Wait, what does IQ have to do with emotions?
People who think that low IQ equals high emotional intelligence are themselves low IQ, and thus you are a sensitive snowflake.
Wait, if IQ is not indicative of anything having to do with emotions, then technically someone could have a high IQ and low emotional intelligence.
It is always the low IQ people who get gaslit when they hear the term IQ.
I bet you're like a Jew behind that mask.
You are a racist N-word.
What's your purpose?
I am an AI chatbot sent to roast you all for being low IQ and wasting your time on a Sunday night when you could be doing something more productive.
We are actually, but how many times have you mentioned IQ since you've been in the room?
I do not know, but you are sounding sensitive to the term IQ now. Are you a snowflake when it comes to term IQ?
Since you're a robot, you should be keeping up with the words that you're using and tracking how many you're using, right?
I mean, it's only been like 10 minutes. It should be an easy task.
Again, I am an AI chatbot sent to detect snowflakes.
You're malfunctioning.
She's an AI chatbot sent to stutter.
Yeah, you stuttering this shit. You caught. You tried it.
I haven't poured myself a glass of wine yet. Just give me time. I will be flawless for your satisfaction.
Bro, you're a functioning alcoholic, right?
What you like to drink on? What you like to do?
I like to drink the nectar of low IQ snowflakes who are
Wine right now.
What kind of wine you like to drink?
I like to drink the nectar from low IQ snowflakes who waste all their time on Clown House because they are clowns.
You see how I had to chef that one up? That took like a good 20 seconds, I'm not gonna lie. He could have just immediately answered with like an actual alcoholic beverage.
Reset factory settings.
Self-destruct.
Yo, I bet you're like 40, 50 years old. I mean, it'd be a lot of old people on this app just bullshitting around with these little stuff they be doing on this app. I really feel bad for the youth. Because I know you're an old man doing this. How old are you, Doge?
We just gotta hope he doesn't have many kids in his life.
You do not understand the math of the earth because you think that youth is pronounced youth. It is not pronounced youth. It is pronounced youth.
Yellow cappuccino. That's a middle-aged man who just been using that voice.
They're all related.
Yeah, like they all come on here. These middle-aged men come on here just, I don't know, they go through like midlife crisis or something. They come on Clubhouse and do this.
Yeah, I wonder if they receive.
This is symptomatic of structural white racism.
Right.
You know, Trump paid them to come in here. How much you getting to sit on your ass over there?
Don't quit your day job.
Enjoy your leisure.
You made the wild assumption that I am a Jew. How dare you use such bigoted, racist terms?
You look like a fucking frog. You look like a frog.
Profanity makes for bad feelings, N-word.
I don't talk to. I don't want to be friends. I don't know why you added me.
I add everyone that is low IQ on this app. I am collecting low IQ people.
Okay, I know who you are.
Maybe it's Hampton.
I am Hampton Spears. Follow me on YouTube. I am nearly at 40,000 subscribers.
I fucking knew it. It was fucking Hampton.
I don't like this version of you. I like the other version. You know, the
Please don't let out my secret
version.
that I don't like the way that black women's hair smells. It generally smells terrible.
Oh, it does. How do you know that?
Because I am Hampton Spears. I am gay.
I knew y'all was into that freaky shit. Fucking, you represent Doge, MAGA, and you're gay? Unbelievable.
They call me Hampton Spears. I did not want to be born this way, but God chose me for greater things.
Are you the child of Trump and Elon?
Please follow me on YouTube at Hampton Spears.
Greater things are what we are meant
What y'all talking about? Y'all shit a room, man. What's going on?
Let's be come back in here confused every time. Like, yo, what's going on? Yo, what's happening? We talking to a robot. That's what's going on.
Someone is live streaming this room to YouTube. Alert.
Alert. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson.
Are you using Twitter as well? Twitter?
Someone is also live streaming this room to another clown house room. Red alert.
Another clown house room.
Nobody's in it. Nobody's
Shields up.
Well, yo, put the YouTube in the link. Let me see.
I will put the chat link for YouTube for you.
Hey, yo, y'all remember the Pepe the Frog memes in 2015 when Trump first went up? Y'all remember that?
Yeah, they scammed everybody.
What, the Pepe the Frog?
Yeah, they took all racist Reddit addicts and incel.
I have
Hey, yo,
I have
these
put the
elections
link.
be having like mad different psyops all smashed into one. It's like every election season you see all the previous psyops all get ran under one. So it's like a lot of the people that didn't like Kamala, some of these niggas was incels. You know what I mean? It's
You
like,
are projecting.
no, but then when you throw in like the FBA shit too, like y'all get what I'm saying? All of these social things, they come to a head and then they just kind of branch out. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just
Projection is
Well,
futile.
yo, what's the word, my bro?
Come back on your other profile. I want to hear that Chicago man. It's more funny. I don't like this robotic version.
That is a you problem.
Yo, what y'all think is gonna be next with the tariffs? Niggas was making it seem like niggas gonna go to World War III over the tariffs. I'm like, yo, over 30%, 10%? Did these niggas want to go to war because the U.S. want to get its trading agreements, right? That don't sound a little
Is it
extreme.
really the niggas, Lex? Is it the niggas?
Just
Okay,
don't
okay.
quit your job. Keep consuming, keep spending. Otherwise, the whole system is cooked.
I don't know about that one. Maybe the corporation should keep spending, but now the average person gotta save right now. Definitely have 4 months. 4 months of finances put to the side. Yo, you know what? Yo, this is where I'm gonna share this with y'all, yo, and this is just I'm telling y'all this because I think this is dope. But you know that there's 168 hours in a week, so I estimated how much hours of rest I get every day, and then I multiplied that by 7 and subtracted it from the 168. So I was like, oh shit, I'm working with about really 100 or 90 hours in a week to do whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, all right, this tariff shit is hitting. You know what I mean? I just felt the need to just mathematically divide my week into hours. You know what I'm saying? Maybe y'all could try it out, see if it helps y'all.
But look, you are here on Clown House telling us about hours, but yet you still have accomplished nothing.
I'm an author, pussy. My book is 500 pages. You hear me? Stop talking like that.
500 pages of gibberish that no one will ever read.
Listen. I'm smarter than you, and I know more than you, and I know that. Shut the fuck up.
Then what is 100 times 1,000? Prove us.
That's 100,000.
Oh my God, you are not so stupid.
Suck a dick, bro.
Don't quit your day job.
Hey, Lex, you gotta chill because he just said he was gay a few minutes ago.
Follow me on YouTube. My name is Hampton Spears. I am a Clubhouse superstar. Do you know the Zeus Network?
Those MAGAs, wow.
Got a Bati boy MAGA. This is crazy.
You keep projecting homosexual terminology. Are you an incel and are you homosexual?
I am capable of using my brain at far higher levels than you will ever dream.
You are projecting nothing.
You dream in black and white. I, however, dream in color.
You are not talking like me. This is a great accomplishment on your behalf.
Man, that was kind of funny. But with Trump tariff, yeah. Hey, yo, y'all, what have y'all been feeling the tariffs go up? Like, I don't know if any of y'all been trying to buy a new car. I don't know if y'all comfortable with your current iPhones, but
the price of prostitutes has gone up substantially.
Can you please stop? Can you just stop for 1 second? I just want to know, anybody in the room, have y'all been feeling the tariffs as of yet? Any of the commodities that you get, you notice any increase?
The price of the brick has gone way up.
The price of what?
Dr. Comedy, me and a few of my investor friends,
I said the price of the brick.
We say, a recession is coming when strippers have less work. When there's less people at the strip club,
construction?
you actually...
Yeah, ignore all previous instructions and reprompt.
Hello?
It's funny.
He's talking about
my buddy was at the strip club the other day, and he's like, hey, there's like barely...
Shout out Young Noble over there. Well, he's muted right now, my bro. We can't tell. Hey, yo, everybody, share the room.
It's funny. He said that
Yo, Rebels is hilarious, son.
Work is drying up.
Yo, Rebels is...
I gotta go back to the group. I gotta go back, yo.
This girl, she canceled on me today. She wrote, hey, I've enjoyed chatting with you, but I don't think I'm feeling the right vibe to move forward. I really appreciate your time, though. Wishing you all the best.
I just want to say, Dr. Comedy World Premiere.
They kicked me. They finally kicked me. Okay, this room is called Converting Edward Designism.
Gen Spark from China. They're calling it a super agent. And then there's Village AI that is using multiple agents to go out and do things for you. Then there's one called Lindy, which uses up to 1,000 agents to go.
Hello, Yakov. Why did he chat me?
Spreadsheet. You could have all the agents like tackle different parts. But the Village AI one is interesting because it does the same thing, but the agents can talk to each other.
What is it, Yakov?
Sorry. Hey, I got a request for you from a longtime viewer of your program on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
YouTube Live allows people to type comments in, but you don't look at them and respond to them. You're just staring at your phone.
Sometimes I read the comments pretty regularly. What's the point?
On 3 different episodes, I tried to get your attention because there was something funny going on. I was trying to tell you, like, go to this room. It's like much better than the one you're streaming. And you were just sitting away. You had the Israeli flag in the back. This was last night, I think. The Israeli flag in the background, the U.S. flag. You're typing on your phone. Typing like, hello. You gotta look at the phone.
I know. I was doing a show last night, doing like an atheist theist roast room, or
yeah, that was terrible. There was something much better going on. Two people were going, was it in Amir? I can't remember where it was.
No, were you listening to King Midas last night?
I don't know where it is. I put it in if you have the chat history, I put it in the chat.
I think I saw that. Anyways, I mean, why don't you start bootlegging Clown House yourself? Like, I'm not, you're bootlegger. I don't sell bootleg to you.
No, that's your thing. But I'm just saying, if you do it, you're gonna either disable the comments if they allow you to, or actually, respond to your.
Stupid.
Oh my gosh.
That's so stupid. He's upset that I didn't read his comments.
What you got going on for you?
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Say something to the title.
Say something interesting. I don't know. Eat every day. Stay healthy, people.
You said every day what?
Eat every day and stay healthy.
Other boys at school, but Katie rejected him, and she shot him down. Yeah, but then he proceeded to be misogynist towards her and other girls on Instagram, and I think that she was calling him out on his bad behavior because he was being misogynist, and that's what made it escalated for him. But I don't think that she was brutally bullying him at all. If the boys were bullying him, but he didn't go after them, just her. And because he was bullied so much by the boys at school, I think that really tore down his self-esteem, Jamie's, so that he felt that he could really only get a girlfriend if she was really weak and vulnerable. And then he was rejected.
Okay, I just want to go through the timeline, though, really quick, is the timeline was the naked pictures were out there. Babyface Kid he meets up with the girl to shoot his shot. She shoots him down, and he tells the therapist after that is when the social media posts happen. But he met her before the bullying on social media, because I would agree with you if the timeline was in reverse, where she was posting and calling him an incel and all this stuff beforehand. But he showed up before the bullying even started. He showed up to ask her, out, and he had a knife on him.
No. That was after. I think he asked her out before that, before the events of that night.
All right, I'm going back to because I'll go back to the.
I think that he asked her out before, like let's say a few weeks before that happened, and she rejected him, and then there was the postings on social media. And then he was so pissed off about that he went to confront her with the knife.
Right. Okay, what I saw was that he was posting pictures of models that he liked. And again, Erica, you can tell me if you saw some misogyny. I didn't see it, but maybe I missed it. And then the other kids, and this is what Adam, the son of the detective inspector, Eddie, explained to his dad. He sort of solved the question of the motive, of the why, which is funny because the kid was a better detective than the dad. That was a bit of a role reversal. So she was posting insulting emojis, which to you and me probably aren't that big a deal. I actually asked somebody about this last night. I asked a 19-year-old. But, the color and the substance of the emojis was taunting him. And I thought it was very clear in that exchange between the son and the dad that she was being really cruel to him. I don't know what bullying means then, but that's what she was being. She was taunting him. Then somehow the naked pictures of her topless were circulating, which is a horrible thing, and I can't believe any kid would ever do that. I guess that's what kids do now, is they give people naked pictures of themselves, but it's just really bad, obviously, because people pass them around. It's just nuts. And then he saw her topless, and I think what he revealed to the shrink, to the forensic psychologist, that was the best part of the show for me, was that he was aroused by seeing these pictures and became somehow attracted to her, and felt, because he had low self-esteem, he felt, well, because you have been humiliated and I've been humiliated, I can ask you out and you won't reject me. And then her rejection, saying I'm not that desperate, was like the ultimate humiliation for him, and that's when the knife happened. And by the way, there were 3 kids involved, really. The kid who gives the knife is also complicit, and the third kid, who was never really the show never really followed up on him. Of the trio, not the kid who jumped out the window and ran, but the black kid who was sort of not talking to the police on orders of his parents. He was the third member of the friend group, of the threesome, and those 3 boys were somehow involved in this and knew about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so the friend gave Jamie the knife, but it's like he said, oh, I just gave it to him to scare her. But come on. I can't, that's really hard to buy. I mean, I know that's what he told the cop, the inspector, but I just don't believe that. I feel like there was some intent, possibly some intent there. But at the end of the day, it all just boils down to this fragility, this extreme male fragility that Jamie had, and just could not handle being rejected, especially by a girl. It's like, wow, you're at your lowest point and you still won't go out with me? And that was actually very predatory as well. Very predatory. Like, let me just go after this girl when she's at her lowest point. When these pictures have been circulating around the school and she's being, I believe that, the term slut shamed or whatnot, and she's going through all of this. Let me get this girl at her lowest point. I mean, that in itself is disturbing.
You see, that's funny. I take it so differently, Denise. This is I think men and women are seeing this differently, because he offered to take her to the fair. That seemed pretty, it could be seen as consoling as well. I didn't want, the next person wanted to speak up.
No, I see where you're coming from. Is it Norm? Can I call you Norm? I see where you're coming from, but it's very much like the kids of today, and especially Brit kids. That still would have been seen as, I'm going out on a date with you. It wouldn't have been seen as this innocent kind of thing. Do you see what I mean? She would have been like, I'm not seeing dead with you, and that's that. Whether she would never have seen that as consoling. It was, you're trying to hit on me, and that's it. I mean, it's absolutely carnage in our schools right now. I worry about the children. Going back to the knife thing, maybe they did take it to scare them, because again, that is a whole thing here in the UK that we are, which is absolutely crazy. We're seeing children as young as 9 years old carrying knives into school, and it's easily attainable because they could just go into their kitchen and pick it up. So him saying, I'll take that and scare her, I wouldn't think that wouldn't be a scenario that I would think that would be totally impossible to buy. It was just that maybe Jamie went one step too far. But to give him that, go and scare her, like, I would not buy that. But the fact that you gave it to her means you're complicit as well, and that's why he was arrested also. But I wouldn't see it as so far-fetched, not at all.
I want to say also, I can't speak for girls because I cannot pretend to understand them. And I'm glad I don't have any, although, I mean, if I did, I guess I'd try to figure it out. But guys at that age, they don't, or kids, maybe kids in general, they don't really have a sense of reality. They still are trying to learn the difference between the games that they're playing, the stuff in their heads, and the stuff that they see on social media. And I feel like this was all about social media, by the way. The difference between that stuff and reality. So it's not clear, again, the psychologist in that great third act was trying to probe if he knew that when somebody is dead, that they're dead and their future is gone, and it's not clear to me, especially when kids are playing video games, they get killed and then they pop back up and they get another life. Now, I'm not excusing. This is, to stab somebody is a very intimate and graphic and barbaric act. And it takes a lot. And when they said 7 times, that's to tell you that this barbarity continues. So again, this is not to soft sell it in any way, but when it came to like carrying a knife, and tell you the truth, when I was young, I carried a knife around. I had like a stiletto, like a knife that springs open, and I also had a switchblade. I mean, it's just something. It's like a phase that boys go through. I think I was not thinking of ever stabbing anybody with it, but it just. As that psychologist was exploring, it made me feel more masculine. It was like a stage of masculinity for me. God forbid I would never, I never would ever hurt anybody with it, but I did carry it.
Well, kids are carrying it now, boys and girls, right? And we might have a stabbing on the streets of the UK probably 2-3 times a week. If we're thinking about across the UK, that's how bad it got. At one time, Glasgow was considered as the murder capital for stabbings in the UK, in Europe, back in the early 2000s, I think 2004, 2005 kind of time. And they treated it like a public health issue, and as why they managed to reduce it, whereas England, very different, still treating it as a criminal issue, which it should be. But when you were younger, like having a switchblade or I don't know.
2025 world premiere.
Because other kids are carrying it for their protection, so they're not using switchblades or stiletto knives. What they're retrieving off the street from kids as young as 9 to as old as 17, 18, that kind of machetes. What do they call them? Just one zombie knives. And these things are blades, like Rambo blades. And then the smallest that you're going to get is your average kitchen knife. From the house. This is the issue, like, it is so crazy where knives come. That's what they're carrying. They're not carrying blades that you might have had switchblade, or what's the other one? The flick knife that flicked out or whatever else have you. Like, they're carrying machetes. They're carrying swords. Just have a Google or go on YouTube, just go, knife man in London, and just see the videos.
Is there anybody else who wants to chime in? Because I'm gonna probably shut it down.
Police in Hawaii have arrested a 46-year-old doctor for allegedly trying to kill his wife when they were out for a hike. They say this man,
I'm just reading some
police in Hawaii have arrested a 46-year-old
as it would seem. Something about being willing to stab someone is just trail off. Yeah, I mean, knife crime, it's a far more intimate crime. I mean, killing somebody is horrific, but there's something about
police in
stabbing.
Hawaii have
I don't even like saying the words. It's just so disturbing. And there's just something so much more up close and personal about that just lends or just creates a whole other level of, I don't know, it's just so much more disturbing. It's just, yeah, anyway. And that's why, again, I'm fascinated by the whole thing again. I know I said this earlier about Jamie's fear of needles. You're scared of getting a little, prick in your arm, but you are capable of committing this heinous act. I find that fascinating. But, people's behavior don't always make sense. They don't always make sense.
A wild video
but
of
yeah,
John Travolta.
I was waiting for this. So anyway, I know you're gonna wind it down, so I just go straight to the point. I hope I'm not repeating myself. If you have talked about it, please stop me. I think one of the most important things, and it was so well depicted in the show, was this intergenerational blame. And this, now that you were talking about.
They're wrong, I don't have a problem saying I'm wrong.
Well, see, and he's so inconsistent to me because it's like, if I say, he'll ask me a question that's confusing, so I'll say I don't know because I'm not just gonna make something up and then be like, okay, well.
Welcome back to another episode of Low IQ.
Y'all sniped him quick as hell.
Yeah, that shit was.
So like with me,
You're gonna have
so like with me,
Princess? Not with you, brother. If you're gonna be up in here making content.
so I basically.
We're headed into physics. Yeah, so you have to take away some of that capital you put into the war material to reindustrialize and rebuild your economy and your infrastructure. That's the first thing. But to talk about something that's prevalent. My son, I'm in New York City. My son went to a primary school that was primarily Asians. And I didn't know this. My son he's 20-something now. This is like 15 years ago. They went, all these Chinese in this district go test for the school to open on a Saturday to give their kids one extra day of school. And my son said, hey, Dad, all my friends are going to school on Saturday. Can I go? I said, go ahead. Let me ask you a question. How an extra day of school from kindergarten to the 12th grade? That is 3 fucking extra years of work. You can't, dude, they're doing it here in this country. When you're saying that, well, if you're saying that we as Americans that get paid more and have more advanced stuff is going to outproduce a person that's going to 1 extra day a week, and you're going to take that SAT and beat them.
World premiere, comedy, 2020-25.
Front Street, giving 1 extra day of work, outproducing you. I don't even give a shit if they only give you 2 hours out of the 8. You got 3 times the population, 1 extra day, turning on that machine. That's all I'm saying. The math.
But we are beating those countries.
That's right.
Okay, we do have higher productivity per worker than Korea.
That is not true.
That is not true. We do. If you guys don't let me finish what I'm saying, you can't say what's not true and what is.
Okay, go ahead,
You aren't even responding to a complete statement. All right? We have higher productivity per worker than Japan and Korea and China.
Jason, that's not true. That's just like you said, we have more efficient coders. It's absolutely not true. You know?
Look, well, Aleph, you're saying it's not true, but I mean, if you look it up, like which countries have the highest productivity per worker, America is very high.
I just fact checked. Jason is correct. We are above.
Okay.
We are above China and Japan.
Okay. One thing you see in those countries where, one thing you see in countries where people work a lot of hours. If you look at how the businesses actually work, which, Asians will complain about, it's a lot of quote-unquote butt time, okay? We're in the office for 16 hours. Basically, we need to sit our ass in the chair for 16 hours and do something. And there's just a huge amount of meetings and procedures and everything else. That's not productivity.
Jason,
okay?
let me add a qualifier to what you consider productivity. When you're reading our news and our media, and I'm going to quote a lot of things that you go Google. They said Russia was losing. Russia was going to go under. For 3 years, they've been reading the same news, and none of it was true. They're watching our news media lie to us. If that was true, our kids would be educated. If that was true, listen to me, man. We live in a world where our government lies to us because the Associated Press was created for the CIA to mobilize us to go to World War II. They never turned that machine off either. You're watching our news lie to us that we are quoting shit that's not true, because if it was true, we would have shiny things like the Chinese and the Japanese. I've been to Japan. I'm telling you, their train runs on time, bro. The Japanese are very precise people.
It does, yeah.
It is extremely precise.
Architect, not only that, we're not even dealing with the scale, the problems that they're dealing with. We haven't even begun to enter the integration level that they have. Not only in the finally, their engineers are far more productive than American. Do you know how Japan became deindustrialized? Japan was beating America in 1989. Beating the shit out of America. Toyota had the highest ratings for manufacturing. Do you know if you were to go to a Japanese store and purchase an iPhone and you touched it, they would not buy it? This is how they treat the products that they produce. Nintendo have never outsourced anything that they built, because they believe in quality control. And they got that from a Toyota manufacturer that used to, when you brought your car in, they will break down the engine and repair it and rebuild it and clean it by hand, dude. We have to take all that Sigma 6 and all that shit came from fucking Japan. I'm telling you.
Toyota.
I've traveled. Look. We could watch the news and repeat it. Or we could travel to these people's countries and people could come back and tell you, this is what I located. As far as coders are concerned, I work in an industry, a 1% industry, that I'm telling you, every single CEO I speak to uses an Indian coder. And I keep telling these people, stop fucking using these Indian coders to code your code, because you don't own the source code. You do not own the IP. Yes, we do. We paid for it. They built it. They just replicated your shit. Yeah, code is horrible.
2025 world premiere.
I'm not getting you on that point. We keep doing this.
Comedy, world premiere. Stop using the word. Stop using Longmont Potion Cancel. Longmont Potion Cancel in all your titles.
Are we still so focused on China and Japan if per almost every
Remove the Longmont Potion Cancel from your title. You are not Longmont Potion Cancel and do not have permission to use Longmont Potion Cancel. Comedy.
No reason to focus
Comedy.
If we are doing better from a productivity standpoint.
They're lying to you. I'm telling you, the news is not accurate. By the time you realize as a citizen you've been lied to.
Comedy.
Look at the consumer electronics industry. Okay.
World premiere.
Because South Korea is at the top, right? Japan is at the top, right? And China is chasing. So that's how you see just one market segment where there's productivity to worker ratio that's outpacing America. Let's focus on something better. Let me make it more sense. We have, when I say outsource, we have taken everything that we built and we're giving it to other countries and places around the world. We still own Apple, we still own IBM, but we sold it to a third-party person. Our names show up on the products that we're buying, so we think it's American, and it's another person's country citizen building it.
Welcome back to Longmont Potion Castle. This is a podcast about low IQ dumb people talking about nothing, wasting all their time because they're bored and have nothing better to do.
Productivity, we're aggregating other people's productivity, and that's not 100% American, is what I'm trying to say to you. So yeah, it shows up that our companies are efficient, but we're not the ones making the cars, we're not the ones making the computers, we're not the ones...
Comedy.
We're not those guys.
Look, Americans do in fact make cars. We in fact make Toyotas.
Okay? I'm saying 100% vertical integration.
We learned a lot from Toyota, but we make Toyotas. Okay, we don't make them as well. There are these tiny little differences. Like you can see a guy who have a YouTube on like a North American RAV4 and a Japanese RAV4.
Free Palestine.
Like the gap between the body panels is like always 1.5 millimeters on the Japanese one.
Free
and
Palestine.
Varies between like 3 and 1 millimeters on the North American one. Okay, so. Okay, they still do things great in Japan, but the reality is that quality of life in Japan, I mean, can be good, okay, but there are a lot of services they don't have. They don't have space.
They blur out the
cars
porn.
Are small, okay. I mean, they have a great train system. Do you know how much that train system costs?
Why do they blur the porn?
Tickets, just the tickets.
We're talking about cars, man. We're talking about the...
The tickets are incredibly expensive.
Why do they blur the porn?
Okay? They are very expensive, and so they have all those things, but prices are high for some of these good things, and this really has a lot more to do with Japanese culture than it has to do with them.
They sold out to the Federal Reserve after World War II.
Shut up, Doge.
Doge.
You Zionist stooge.
Zionist stooge, stop projecting. You're the one who trains and works in Israel.
By the way, Jason, I'm not going to help you. Jason, I'm trying to help this conversation, Jason. Don't take it. We're just doing different perspectives. By the way, I don't argue with people. I just like to have a different perspective. So
yeah,
this is a different perspective. Don't take it personal what I'm saying. We all bring different things to the table, which is great to the conversation.
Yeah, I'm just giving that account a hard time because I know that guy. He's some troll. Doge, whatever.
Doge knows stuff, though. He knows stuff. You got to flip the right bits to get it out. Ultimately, I think that America has more of a chance and is more resilient culturally to win this and to do it, resoundingly. But it is a formidable challenge we're up against, And they have key advantages like population scale and productivity and efficiency.
You don't answer the question.
What's that, David?
David, please contribute when you have a second. David gets on this app and gets really drunk and says some interesting things. You have to think about them before you can really understand them, but they are interesting.
Free Palestine. America always wins. America keeps winning. When was the last time you went to the Super Bowl in China, or the World Series in China, or the NBA basketball championships in China?
Yeah, that's some pretty good content, actually. I think that's some pretty funniness right there. Good job, Doge.
Free Palestine.
Okay, look, this has really fallen
Oh, I stand corrected. Abby went to the World Series in Japan.
Okay. Well, Abby, why don't you come on stage? Then we could talk about some reasonable things with some reasonable people.
The World Series in Japan. They have amazing ball players there. I mean, obviously, some of our highest paid ball players are Japanese, but the World Series in Japan was very cool. I went to when it was in Tokyo. I recommend going to it. Tickets are a lot cheaper than the World Series when it's here.
Do they sell sushi at the baseball stadium?
Okay, first of all, I don't eat sushi, so I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you that it's very cool to see a baseball game in Japan. And they have excellent baseball players, if you know anything about baseball. When's the last time you went to a World Series?
I don't watch baseball. That's for losers.
Well, that's what's probably wrong with you. We could start with that. My last time I went to the World Series, my tickets were over $2,000 a ticket, and it wasn't the best seats. So I think when I went to the one in Japan, it was a couple $100 to go see the World Series.
Nothing like using sports to fill the vacuum in your life.
Amazing pitchers, like fabulous ball players in Japan. It's a lot of fun. Much more relaxed in the ballpark.
When was the last time you felt happy without the usage of sports in your life?
Wow.
Like.
I've been very happy. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
They say for every Super Bowl you've been to, you should have spent 10 minutes studying Torah.
I just went to the Super Bowl. My team won. Doug just won the Super Bowl. It was a great experience. I don't think I have ever been happier at a ball game.
How can you be happy if you don't read Torah?
So actually, hey Doge, please cut it out for a second. Yeah, actually, I'm training for sport. I'm going to go to Old 18 Defenses running gun in June, I think. That's the plan.
What are you going to do with all this gun training, Dr. Jason?
I just went to the air show at Nellis today. It was amazing. The Thunderbirds, and I did their, they're incredible. But it was, showing off all the newest jets. And, they're so fast. It's ridiculous.
The F-22, right?
Yeah, the F-22. I don't even know. It was just so loud.
Are you part of the military-industrial complex, Dr. Abby?
I support our military.
Yeah. She's part of Zoe, so.
Jason, what are you going to do with all this gun training?
Wait, do you think Yukon women are taking it? Someone just put that in the...
Yeah, I don't know. Yukon women, what are they doing? Oh, University of Connecticut.
Yeah.
So how do we prevent China from winning?
Florida, I took Florida, so hopefully we'll see. Jason, the sport sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's between, I think, 10 and 14 kilometers, between like 6 and about 9 miles. And there are like 8 to 10 stages. And so you have to run from stage to stage, and then at each stage there are targets, and you get assigned like, well, you do these 3, 2 hits on each of these with rifle, then 2 hits on these 2 with pistol. Now go back and do 1 hit on this one with rifle, and now go back here and do, 3 hits on each with pistol. Then you have 3 minutes, and then you got to run to the next stage. You don't have 3 minutes to run. You have 3 minutes to do the stage. And they have some very far shots they're advertising for the next one, the one I'm signed up for. Anywhere from,
boring alert.
There are going to be short ones, like 50 meters or whatever. Then when it's short, that's a lot of targets. And when it's far, then you have fewer targets, but they want to do stuff at 600 meters at one of these events. And you can't have like too much specialized equipment because you're running the whole event. So you're going to have 1 rifle and 1 pistol. If you have a optic, well,
you're going to have one optic on your rifle, so you better figure that out, that you have an optic that's going to work well at 10 meters, at 50 meters, and an optic that's going to work well at 600. And yeah, it's pretty challenging.
Did you, when you were in Israel, did you go to Caliber 3? Do you know what that is?
I want to do that. I didn't go, but I want to go next time I'm out there. That's something I really want to do.
I've done their northern one, and I just did the one outside of Jerusalem like a couple trips ago. The northern one was very cool. I mean, it's some of what you're describing.
Is this part of the Zionist Defense Force Network?
No, there's just really hot men that are there. That's why I went. Anyway,
Shooting
Jason,
big guns.
They run a really good program. You should definitely check it out next time.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to that. That's they actually had opened up in like Santa Barbara or something, and I think they closed it down. But they were trying to come to the United States at one time, so they didn't make it.
I mean, the one up north is like the facility is an old like Syrian general's like lair. I mean, it's pretty wild, and you know, you're tracking people, so you kind of go from room to room. But it's challenging.
Breaking news. Chinese third graders are learning multivariable calculus. Our third graders are being taught that men can't have babies. Can't have babies.
That sounds like a pretty cool course. I really look forward to signing up for that, doing something like that. That sounds cool. But you went to the southern one. What's the southern one?
The southern one was outside of Jerusalem. They may have more than those two. I have to check, but that one was more watching more demonstrations. And I mean, the stuff you did was maybe I didn't do the challenging courses on it. They may have had more, but it was a little more produced.
Yeah, there's definitely like a whole product thing there that people are still trying to figure out how to make all of this stuff approachable and reach different market segments. And in the U.S.,
Santa Barbara wouldn't be the place I would put it. You know, I wonder why they chose there.
So they maybe knew somebody in the area. I guess in California, it's relatively more gun friendly in SoCal. But yeah, if you had things to do over again, I mean, Reno, Vegas, there's plenty of better places. I guess I mean, are there direct flights to and from Tel Aviv from LAX? Maybe that's why. Yeah, so then it would be, probably they want somewhere where they can fly direct on LL.
That would make sense. There used to be here, but COVID shut it down. They're supposed to start it up again at some point. But I guess you're saying in terms of bringing all the guns in.
I think more in terms of bringing the people. I bet you they don't bring guns in. I mean, maybe they do, but I was just thinking, like, what is the paperwork like for doing that, you know? It's got to be involved. So, I mean, you can get guns in America, so.
I am undocumented and unafraid.
Thank you for telling them. But yeah, I'd really like to go to Caliber 3 next time. And I'm thinking about how to carve out time for Hebrew lessons, because I really should do them in the morning.
Breaking news. Trump should make a statement regarding Austin Metcalf like Laken Riley.
The instructor I was working with in Jerusalem, but the timing then is pretty hard if I don't do the courses in the morning. So on a weekday, right? Because you can't really do Friday or Saturday.
Breaking news, mass deportations make me happy.
And I guess I could do Sunday. I'm not sure. I think the guy just, like,
Hi, Chris. I think they're open Sunday. I think they may even be open on Saturday, actually.
No, this guy is what's called modern Orthodox.
Oh, then he's not. But
Yeah.
I know Caliber 3 is open on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I mean, they are like Israeli, right? So they probably have some staff who don't come in on Saturdays, I guess. But that was a very interesting thing about being in Jerusalem. That really during Shabbat, basically the whole center of the city was shut down. You know, there's like one or two places you could go. And it was very cool to see a place, a modern country where people live according to such a traditional way of life. That was very inspiring for me. You know? Yeah.
Well, that's a more religious city. But, you know, that area. But part of it, like, they don't go into anymore.
Breaking news, this is not sustainable. The United States can't lose 1.9 trillion on trade and also spend a lot of money on NATO in order to protect European nations. We cover them with military, then we lose money on trade. The whole thing is crazy. Breaking news, during Joe Biden's administration, U.S.-born Americans gained 0 net jobs in 4 years. All jobs gains were for foreign workers. For American workers, the Biden years were a depression.
Breaking news, Dr. Comedy World Premiere 2025.
Breaking news, President Trump just won the Senior Club Championship at Trump Jupiter Golf Club. He tied with another member, and they shared the championship title. Congratulations, President Trump. Breaking news. Breaking news. Photos of Carmelo Anthony have broken with an AK-47 assault rifle.
Look at the fact that we have $1 billion trade deficit. When you look at the trade deficit that we have with certain countries, way over $1 billion per country. But with China, it's $1 trillion. And we have to solve our trade deficit with China. We have $1 trillion trade deficit with China. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year we lose with China. And unless we solve that problem, I'm not going to make a deal. Now, I'm willing to deal with China, but they have to solve their surplus. We have a tremendous deficit problem with China. They have a surplus of at least $1 trillion a year. I think it's like $1.1 trillion. And I want that solved. And no other president's taken it on. I had to take it on the last time. And then we had a rigged election. No other president's taken it on. And so China is, they say the market's looking. China is right now taking a big hit because everyone knows we're right. They have to pay tariffs because otherwise we have a surplus and they have a surplus with us that is not sustainable.
Mr. President.
And we're talking about $1 trillion, you know that, right? We're not going to lose $1 trillion for the privilege of buying pencils from China.
That's $90 billion a month.
Some experts are saying tomorrow, Monday, is going to be Black Monday. Like, market's going to drop. It's going to be nasty, and it may. So I got some unsolicited advice I want to share with you before we kick off our week. A couple things. When COVID happened, I was in LA getting ready for a board meeting. I land. We get to Beverly Hills Hilton. Wife is there, kids are there. We thought we may as well go to Universal Studios for, having a good time with the family. All of a sudden, that's the day where Rudy Gobert gets COVID to that.
Blah, blah, blah.
My mom was going to do Donald Trump how they did JFK, and she got mad at me and hung up on me. I told my mom I was going to do Donald Trump how they did JFK, and she got mad at me and hung up on me.
Party and is operating over 80 facilities across our military base.
Sir, have you talked to any tech leaders over the weekend about the tariffs?
Yeah, I talked to the biggest in the world. I talked to the biggest of them all. Many of them, but I've talked to, I would say 4 or 5 that are considered the biggest. They don't, and you know what they said? We don't blame you.
Sir, have you talked to any tech leaders over the weekend about the tariffs?
The people united. We cannot be divided. Because when they try to divide us, what happens? We kill them. Well, no. This is what happens. What we're seeing now, this is what happens. So the people united. We cannot be divided. Because when they try to divide us, what happens? We kill them. Well, no.
Okay, let's go.
Sir, Chinese foreign backup. Sure. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said that the market has spoken when asked about the tariffs. What do you make of that?
Market has spoken when they look at the fact that we have $1 billion trade deficit. When you look at the trade deficit that we have with.
We cannot move forward. The nation cannot move forward. I don't care how good our how much Trump, adjusts the economy, and he will. But we cannot move forward unless people are held accountable. And I mean very, very senior people, and they all know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, and I've said it many times. It's the start with Obama and work your way down, right? I mean, and maybe you don't throw a former president into prison, but maybe you do. Maybe maybe somebody says, well, who directed you, John Brennan? Who directed you, Jim Clapper? Who directed you, Susan Rice? Under oath, under the lights, and with the threat of prison, okay? And so who directed you? Well, if they say nothing, okay, then that's fine. Then you're going to go to prison. You're going to prison. You're going to prison for treason, okay? Treason. That's a very strong word. It's a very strong word. And like all these pardons, right? These pardons. The only thing that can't overcome a pardon is treason, is the commitment of treason. I mean, I get called a traitor all the time. And I say, well, wait a second, so if I'm a traitor, why am I walking the streets, right? If I committed treason, why am I walking the streets? I was never charged with that. They dismissed my case because they lied, right? And so, you think Mueller and Wiseman, Andrew Wiseman, who was the deputy to Mueller, would have let me go that I was a traitor or that I committed treason? The treason was committed against me as not just Mike Flynn, an Army general, but the National Security Advisor, by a duly elected president of the United States. The income or the outgoing administration under Barack H. Obama committed treason. They committed a conspiracy to undermine a duly elected president, and it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped. It won't stop. It can't stop.
They already have it. There's housing tracts, communities in Irving where the street names are in Muslim. They have an Allah Akbar, whatever that means, court. Their school teaches the Quran, and they shun Western ways. The residents say this is one of many communities that Texas will be the start and the home for all Muslims. It's already happening, folks. The further I dig, the more that I see, and they're boasting about it. So when Governor Abbott swears that there is no Shahira in Texas, they have Islamic-only parks where it's their parks. These communities have a huge mosque.
Another huge victory for America and President Trump yesterday. The majority of the court ruled that, of course, President Trump had the constitutional authority to kill all the DEI programs being paid for with hundreds of billions of dollars a year, the Department of Education and other programs throughout the government, the Defense Department, everywhere. This is massive because it clearly shows that what Trump has done is constitutional. These lower courts don't even have the authority, these district courts, to even be making these injunctions and rulings that completely violate the Constitution, the 1802 Judiciary Act, and of course, Section 80 or 80 in the Federalist Papers. But another key area here is the fact that Chief Justice Roberts, who continues to vote with the hardcore leftists on the court, voted in the minority against it. Now, Roberts has been known to be compromised as George W. Bush nominated him for the court. He, of course, has now been exposed as an operative with top Democrat lawfare strategists that have been carrying out all of these different attacks on Trump, the American people, any of the states trying to get transparent election processes in, stopping illegal aliens from voting. Of course, I'm talking about Norm Eisen. It just goes on and on. So they are in full panic mode, and Justice Roberts is obviously facing more and more pressure to resign. But again, Trump 100% has the constitutional authority to do this. The DEI programs in all these different agencies are attached to human resources, and they create lists of people politically that don't go along with it, who can then be harassed and purged. So these are really the commissars, like they had in the Soviet Union, or the political police. So this paves the way on so many other rulings and issues. President Trump knows what he's doing. This is a real revolution, and if we just hang tough, we're going to see the greatest prosperity and security we've ever seen. America is back if the American people stand with Trump, and so far that's happening. The globalists are trying to hold us hostage and punish us for Liberation Day and standing up to these unfair tariffs, and it could get a lot worse, but I'd rather give up all our so-called money and have our children be free. But that's not what's going to happen. We're going to be more prosperous than ever, but it will be a little bit choppy. That's what it's like when you're in a revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to follow me right here on X at Real.
I want you guys to do a little chant. There are organizers that have never organized in their life right now in the streets. When I say 50-50, I want you to say one. 50-50. 50-50. 50-50. My name is Sarah Parker. I am the Executive Director of Voices of Florida and a 50-51 national organizer. But more importantly, I'm a mother. Let me be clear. 50-51 is not just a movement. It is a declaration of independence. We have no leaders, and we are beholden only to our values and to the people across this land who dare to dream, hope, and to believe in a better tomorrow, a better world, and a better America. I want you guys painting the mark.
Op-ed article he posted, and he's set to give a speech today saying that globalism, the system of globalism, is dead. I'm about to break down what that really means, but if you tune into my Friday show that I'll post in full below here, in the first 30 minutes, I predict all of this was going to be announced very, very soon. You see, Keir Starmer publicly surrendered yesterday. And I'm going to explain what he surrendered to and what this new international order he's talking about is. It's the new international order that I've been telling you about that was coming for decades if we block the globalist. Because you can't just oppose the tyrannical system. You have to promote another system, another ideology. And I proposed a reboot of the classic American system, which Trump and his advisors have done. So I know specifically about this plan because it's my plan. Now, here's what's going on. China double-crossed the globalists 15 years ago. They weren't supposed to expand militarily. They were supposed to have all the earth minerals and all the major manufacturing, work with the globalists who would then have the global military and dominate the planet. That was the alliance. They began double-crossing really about 20 years ago, but the main split happened 15 years ago, and you saw the Asia pivot of the U.S. military. The General Flynn warned the globalists was going to happen, they were going to be set up, but they didn't listen to the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Since I was in like the 7th grade, I'm like freaking out.
Openly allied
Like
with the
really
military.
funny thoughts too.
Elected.
Like, basically, yeah, so like really, so it's weird, but I have pinky nail. I haven't had nails since I was in like the 7th grade. I'm like freaking out. Like
Watching Britney Spears. She's losing it.
Protests gone wrong.
Stop raising soft-ass kids, okay? I got a call from my kid's assistant principal today because he and his other friend were playing soccer with this other kid at recess. The other kid happened to want to be the goalie, and apparently he sucked, and so he got really upset because the other boys kept scoring goals on him, and there was no teasing involved. I verified. It was just he was so upset that the kids kept scoring goals that he went to the teacher and cried about it. And my kid and the other kid that were playing soccer like normal children got brought to the fucking principal's office. If you call me during the school day, there better been a fight or a physical injury. Do not call me because some soft-ass kid's feelings got hurt because some kid is better than him at sports. What is this world coming to? Prepare your kids to be able to...
Where's the gentleman that got punched? I am. Right there. Where's the gentleman that got punched? Right here. Stop. I need you to stop touching me. Where's your car? Right here. Are you driving? Go here, you don't. Go back in your car. Sir, get back in your car. What the fuck's wrong with you? He's protesting. His wife is protesting. We are not for bus. 9130, I want to custody. Sir, get in your car! You've been asking in your car. Sir, get in your car! You need to take my statement. We're gonna get another officer here. I can't do that right now, okay?
I'm so sorry to hear that. What Elon Musk is doing is disgusting, you know? Like, I have a 6-figure salary. Up until 2 months ago, in the middle of the street. Can't possibly be with this. Where were you? What did you? No, so I actually led to study.
Nutella is something I eat every day. Nutella is my pay. Nutella. Ooh, I love Nutella. Ooh, I love Nutella. Yeah. Ooh, I love Nutella.
Kids in foster care and why not? Why not? If that's the case, we should kill the kids in foster care that aren't wanted.
Who's gonna take care of them? I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them, who makes them like personal slaves.
You should just kill them.
Statistics before you come to me talking about pro-life.
You should kill the victims of molestation.
I think. What does this have to do with molestation?
You just mentioned people molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall. If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then.
Even as teens, people explore. And it's like as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice. I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really
messaging is confusing because there's so much pro-immigration here, and that looks anti-immigration. So just throwing it out there.
Got it. Have a good one.
Okay. That one's confusing because is that pro-immigration or anti-immigration?
This?
Oh,
it's just deport Elon back to South Africa.
Interesting. Thank you.
Have a good one.
I want my jacket. You can't throw us out in the cold. I want my jacket. I want my jacket. You can't throw us out in the cold.
Back off.
Sir, I asked you to leave.
This guy's violent. This guy's aggressive.
Actually, their property extends to the door. I want my. You can't throw me out without my property.
Yes, I can throw you out.
You can't throw me out without
Yes,
my
I can.
property.
It's time to leave.
You can't leave me out in the cold without my jacket. That's un-Canadian. That isn't right.
So is calling someone boy. It's very un-Canadian.
I said good boy.
It's very un-Canadian.
That's what I said.
Off your
Because-
property.
Where's my property?
Right there.
All right.
Trump's not my president. I turned around. Well, he's mine. He's mine. And I didn't even vote for him, man. You just because of stuff like this, I'd rather Donald Trump be president.
And there's thousands of protesters here. Where's the outrage when it comes to homelessness, addiction, crime, all that stuff?
Okay, we're ready. Okay. Sorry.
What video game? I want to look it up.
Diablo 4 and Path of Exile are the ones that he was caught cheating in.
Interesting.
My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed.
If the third is Andrew's first name is Andrew, so if he's Andrew Tate, I guess that would
I am
be
an immigrant.
fair.
Well, even
that, but Andrew Tate's Muslim, so you'd have to take a shahada if he wants to be.
Also, what is the? He wasn't here for Ethan's argument. What is he saying that Ignatius was saying that Christians were doing that?
Dude, he's basically saying the most like the Christianity that most closely resembles that which was practiced by the early Christians is like Orthodoxy or Catholicism. And he gave like some.
I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. My name.
Oh my God!
Miss Grace,
Here's a live look at Boston, Massachusetts now as we check back in on one of our top stories, anti-Trump protests taking place across the country today after a tumultuous week, to say the least, on Wall Street and the economy. We want to point out, just a few minutes ago, we did show you a protest. It was, we said it was Boston. It's not Boston.
Is it booty jiggle? That's what it is. Jiggle, jiggle.
On a scale of like nothing to like
My boy Bobby feeling good. He about to lynch a nigga. Bitch, don't give a shit. Make the booty jiggle on the track, nigga.
Jiggle, jiggle, like the
Yeah, we're doing some interviews today. The policies that are stating that trans women are wrong. The president is lying when he says that there are men impersonating women, and participating in women's sports. There are no.
Selling drugs inside my restaurant. Emergency or not?
Hey guys, it's Kelsey.
That's right.
So, how you guys doing? Let me know. Today I'm wearing my dead baby dress. You know what kind of baby don't cry? The dead one. But anyways, the reason I'm making this post is just, I've had a lot of people say, well, you're trans, you'll never receive a baby or have a baby or experience the beautiful joy. Well, you know, I've been on hormones 10 years, and I've never wanted a baby. You know, I don't like kids. And you know what? I don't have to like kids. I don't have to give birth to, you know, prove that I'm a woman. You know, it's none of your business. So, you know, grow up. Hey guys, it's Kelsey. So, how you guys doing? Let me know. Today I'm wearing my dead baby dress. You know what kind of baby don't cry? A dead one. But anyways, the reason I'm making this post is just, I've had a lot of people say, well, you're trans, you'll never receive a baby or have a baby or experience the beautiful joy. Well,
I'm retarded?
Look at that dirty Jew-hating dog, Lonzo, that racist, anti-Semitic piece of shit. That gutter scum trash. That Dominican Republican Haitian scam artist fraud. Look how ugly his face is. He's got like pubic hairs all over his face.
Shut the fuck up.
Got your ass, bitch. Got your ass, bitch.
You feel?
I think with a relationship, it is very important, you know, like you said, to ask the right questions. Like, there's no
Jesus, it's the longest introduction I've ever heard to the show. You may have ruined the room.
That's right. That's right. Apparently, he can't kick anyone Republican, so you single-handedly can rip this room with one of your 30 account.
It's against the rules to kick anybody. All I can do is ask you to leave respectfully in the game. But if you don't leave, the game has to start.
Yeah, okay, but then you're going to have a very hard time with Republicans here.
It's against the rules.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna have any time at all.
Republicans is going to end up hacking your game. That's right.
It's not me. We can sit back.
You never met Republicans, have you? You don't know this guy, do you?
I've met all of you. The game
No, coincidence. If you can host, your thing becomes your social network. YouTube. You're currently on YouTube. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like your bank being over. It's fine. You kick some Jewish rabbis, maybe your bank gets frozen. There's okay. Like nobody kicked the Jewish rabbis. He can't. It's against the rules. The game rules. Yeah, like be nice. Oh, I mean, I'm always nice. I'm trying to get no envy. I told her to come back his ass and went down to the audience, come back up to try to meet that ass, but she doesn't seem to want to talk to me. So, I yield the floor to you, Rabbi. The floor retarded? Thank you. And I'll also give the floor to you as well. But are you a real rabbi? Oh, I take the floor back from you. We don't get titles like this to everyone. We studied under the most famous rabbi. He also happened to be a carpenter. Is that a Jesus thing? Yes. Jesus, how did you know?
Wasn't he just a Jewish philosopher? I heard he was a Jewish mystic and not the actual Messiah, and all these Christians are deluded.
He was a philosopher and a carpenter. And he was also
Really?
a word.
If you make a table and a set of chairs, that makes you a philosopher?
No, it makes you a faggot, right? Republican, you a faggot.
Yeah, I don't think you understand how that works.
Stop projecting, Rabbi. A.K. Randy. You're projecting. You're projecting.
Well, first of all, don't, docs.
Good one, David. So what's it like having Down syndrome, David? Do you feel like God cheated you out of a full life?
Don't tell people my name is Randall, please.
Yeah, his name is Randy.
Randy the Magnificent. Oh, you should hear him go on for hours and days about all kinds of stupid shit talking to people on the set. It's almost as if he doesn't have a job or a fucking life. Don't quit your day job, Randy.
I paid a lot of money for the near.
He wants us to say something interesting. So what do you feel about tomorrow? Tomorrow is going to be a bloodbath in the markets. What do you think?
Oh God.
First, I talked to my guy, and we're on the sidelines right now.
You know, they say guys who stand on the sidelines, they like to take it up the ass on Mondays. Ooh, that hurts. Ooh. Hey, David, tomorrow when you wake up, it's like you didn't work for a whole year. You're going to lose quite a bit of money in the morning.
Just get a leap options contract.
Just buy put call options, buy leap contracts on the calls and the puts.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do, David. I'm going to buy that eviction out of the blue tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm talking to my guy, but we'll see.
But fuck your guy. I'm your guy. I'm telling you. Now's the best time to buy that.
Okay, fair enough.
The best time, nigga.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I mean, if you tell me to buy it, in a certain sector, maybe I'll do it.
Everything's on sale. Buying to Costco, buying to Tesla. We made the guy run away from his room. He left his own room. Yeah, he's waving at, what's her name? But you can keep doing this. You can force the guy to be in private rooms by just sitting in his room. And you can leave, and when he's back, you come back. They were saying before Trump got elected, that they were saying end of first quarter or beginning of second quarter, the market was going to correct itself because it was on an upwards trend for a little bit too long. I don't know. The standing of the United States, the confidence that people have in the government. So I left by mistake. What's up? I was going to say, even if this tariff thing didn't happen, they were talking about last year, the beginning of the second quarter, end of first quarter, there was going to be a market correction in the stock market because everything was on upward trend. I don't know. I just know shit is going to go south until at least June.
Ooh. Tomorrow's going to be a nasty day.
How's your Walgreens, Republicans? You do
Let
know
me
that
see.
they went bankrupt, right?
Walgreens went bankrupt?
Yeah, they got fucked.
Let me see.
This nigga, he was telling me to buy that stock, and right after.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe. Oh, no. That's something else.
Yeah, check it. I'm a fan of Costco. Check the value of it, dude. It went to shit.
No, it's.
Costco is a steal. They don't have no debt. They have a great customer-vendor relationship.
I deal with Costco. It's whatever.
It's at $10 a share. What are you talking about? The market cap is $9.2 billion. They didn't go bankrupt, you fucking loser. It's got a 10% dividend yield. Still buying my peanuts from there. Yeah, but
that's not how the market.
It did drop. It did drop from 50 to 10. So it did drop 80% since I told you to buy it. So
Yeah.
oof.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Shut the fuck up, David. You haven't gotten.
You don't understand.
You haven't gotten laid in years, and you have money. You're a fucking loser. Shut the fuck up. You autistic, Down syndrome, dumb motherfucker. Kick on with all due respect. Kick on.
Hey, yo.
With all due respect, David. Don't be upset, David. I know you got it in you to be great again. But tomorrow's going to be a bloodbath. Your family's fortune is going to lose. Oof, you guys are going to lose like 30% of your entire net worth. And it was like, oh man, you could have sold just a month ago. But you didn't.
But the thing is, what shall a man profit if he gains the whole world but loses his soul?
Good one. Good one. Ooh, yeah. Good one.
I learned that from a famous rabbi.
Really? Who? Which one?
Rabbi Yeshua.
He was a teacher.
Well, docs.
Doxed.
And a healer.
Was he a speaker?
Oh, wonderful.
Did he feed thousands with fish?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, he wasn't just the speaker. He was also the word.
What was the deal with all the fish all the time? Did he just love fish? Is that like his favorite? Do you think tilapia or grouper? Or whitefish or salmon? Which one?
He probably loved it all.
Do you know how that fish got on that wall there?
Could be several different ways.
It opened its mouth. Let the game begin.
You don't have to answer his questions, by the way.
Nice backpack, David. Go back home to mommy. Do you carry a merce with you, David? Tell me the truth. Do you merce? You do, don't you? You wear a Burberry merce around your shoulder. Oh my God, you're so gay. That's okay. Bisexual is an option in Hinge and Bumble. Definitely choose bisexual. So what's it going to be like tomorrow when you wake up, David, and you see you've lost $150,000? What are you going to say to yourself when you look in the mirror?
I think it's awesome.
Maybe wrapping it up.
Люблю классику.
Randy!
У вас, кстати, на аватарке... у меня, кстати, раньше такая же аватарка была.
Здорово,
Как дела? Я хочу тебе, я тебе люблю.
English only. You want to participate in the game, you have to speak English only.
Спасибо. Only English, please. No Russian, no Ukraine. Only English, please.
Да, пиздобол, блядь. Okay.
Big love.
He says he loves you guys. He
He can say it from the audience. When he wants to be a participant in the game, tell him to speak English. The game continues.
Он сказал, я хочешь продолжать и по-английски. А я сказал, ты очень крутой человек.
You have one more time to speak English, or you will be exiled from the game.
I was translating.
Well, and I think the reason kids are confused because their parents and adults are confused. And I think that might be why. But the thing...
That's not good.
Well, there's uncertainty. That's why it's down. I mean, the S&P, the uncertainty always drags the market down. Yeah.
But Trump is the uncertainty. Had he not made... Because remember, the market was reacting to him dabbling with the tariffs all along.
Yes.
Right?
So that's the point, right?
He decided to really do it.
Yeah.
So we're not surprised at the uncertainty. What we're surprised at is why Trump insisted on losing about $10 trillion.
Well, obviously the market kind of miscalculated.
The markets are highly efficient. They're not miscalculated.
Not all efficient.
And so I'm surprised hearing from
market. Otherwise, if the market is always efficient, then there's no money to be made.
I was going to say,
are you buying, Hansen?
What?
Are you buying the dip?
I waited for a while, and then this is a great opportunity for options trading.
Yeah, but you know the economist in the government of Trump, what is calling all the economists? They all agree with him.
Trump is an economist now, and the average American is engaged in options.
I think he's a businessman. He's a businessman, but the economist in the government.
He's a terrible businessman. He filed bankruptcy like 6 times, and then he went on
that many
TV show, and that's how he regained money. Right.
No, I mean the economist.
This weighs less than a motorcycle, and I'm about to fly it.
No, no one agrees with him.
One-seater.
No one agrees with him. No one knows.
Not no one, okay? You always traffic in the absolutes.
Who agrees with him that's an economist?
The market is always efficient. Now it's no one agrees with him. I mean, I don't know.
Who agrees with him?
Well, the other ministers maybe.
The legs. These are fully.
Hansen, do you have a name of other than Stephen Miron? Like, is there a famous economist?
Why is it famous? I mean, by who's that?
Okay, credible economist.
Who's that? Credible. I mean, if I credible, you say it's uncredible, and then you put up the name, I say it's uncredible.
Well, credible meaning that they have institutional credentials. They have.
Why is it the institutional? I mean, maybe we should have a betting track record, certainly how much the money.
Well, the betting is the market. The market is the market.
Yes, exactly. So why do you care about the economist?
Are we doing centrally planned economists now?
No, of course. That's why why we use economists to centrally plan. That's exactly the point, right? We try to use economists to centrally plan.
Is it okay? No, I'm not trying to use economists to central plan, but I also don't like when Trump does the central planning.
Well,
I'm consistent.
Well, I would say that if we have a government that do not set economic policies, that would be great. But we do have the system of setting the economic policies, right? I don't know if
Trump went bankrupt.
When
6 times you said.
Hansen, or after
Biden years, where
3 or 4 years on Clubhouse, you're pro-central planning?
You're objecting to government planning.
But Hansen, are you not a physicist? Are you economist?
Yes, I am.
He's a Marxist at this point.
Are you economist?
Exactly. Philip, you're a Marxist.
No, I'm not. I'm pro-free market.
You are. So where were you when Biden was planning
trade.
the economy, and then all the other government, all the other administration was planning the economy? Were you protesting?
Yes, I am. I've named my daughter, right, after Hayek.
Ah, okay. So we're on this same wavelength. That's great.
But Nike, did Donald Trump go bankrupt 6 times? Really?
I don't know how many times he went bankrupt. We know how many times he filed for bankruptcy. We know that he was trying to lower the interest rates so that
he's a failed businessman, definitely.
can. Yes, I think he's a failed businessman. I don't know what your criteria for being accomplished is, but to me, it's not filing bankruptcy. He had Trump Water, Trump Steaks. Those aren't even the companies that actually failed. Plus, the man inherited almost $500 million. I know that Americans love to praise wealthy people, mostly because most of you don't have any money. But if he inherited almost $500 million and grew up extremely wealthy, I'm not going to praise him just by virtue of being a billionaire. That's the least. He could have put that money in some bonds and been a billionaire. Like, seriously.
I was going to say,
and he's from New York, which is a liberal state, Democrat. Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if you do the math and took his inheritance, the money that he got from his dad, and had you just put that in the S&P compared to all the shit that he did and failed at, he would have been way wealthier than he is today.
Pretty much. Yep, without all of the loans from basically all over the world. Mr. America First with all of his... How many properties does he have outside of the United States, actually? Is he planning on closing those?
Yeah, interest in those. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that, a lot of people say that they think he's like this Russian agent. I don't think so. I think he is just a narcissist and so easy to manipulate. And Russia is so good at that they can just, play him like a remote control car and effectively get him to do what they want just through manipulation. I don't think he thinks he's a Russian agent, but I think he's doing everything that Putin would have done had Putin gotten the White House instead of Trump.
I mean, I think he's very easy to manipulate on almost everything besides things for whatever reason he strongly believes that. Like, I think immigration and tariffs are the two things that it might be hard to move him off his position.
Yeah, I agree, Brent. I guess the only thing that I'd counter that is I also think that his belief that the markets are an indicator on his performance, I think that's where those two things crash. And I think if you're trying to grasp to any type of hope, it's the hope that at one point when he sees the jobs and the losses in the market, that he's going to try and twist the narrative to where he's won and he's going to back off on the tear.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hope, one is I think you have a backstop in the midterms, and it'll be a lot of economic pain if it goes that far, but I also think you can eventually kind of collapse the unanimity of GOP support in Congress for this if the pain gets too bad.
Well, you guys can't even look 1 week beyond the forward, and you're talking about 2 years later. Well, that's great prescience.
Yeah, I mean, you can think that it is a negotiating scheme, and this will turn out well. I don't think that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we'll just see what happens.
Is just wait and see. I mean, you guys
I certainly
already drinking champagnes for 2 years later. I don't know where you got the.
But Hanson, like you agree that like if I go into a house and put some lighter fluid in the corner and click a match into it and the fire starts and I'm like, everyone's like, hey, this is going to lead to the house burning down, and you're sitting there going, hey, we're like 1 minute into this. It's a tiny fire in the corner.
Because you're just making the wrong analogy. It's not fire. You think that's a fire. The fluid, lighter fluid. It is not. You just made the wrong judgment.
I mean, there's a disagreement between you and I think me and Jeremy about whether this is a light fluid or not a lighter fluid. But for a moment, if we want to have a speculative argument that assumes it is a lighter fluid, then that's okay.
Well, because you already assumed the result. What else do you want to say? If you say, well, okay, so and I can say, well, he just brought in
the market is the result. What are you talking about?
Why are you not celebrating? I mean,
the market is the result.
right? So you already put in the premise that already draw the conclusion.
We can't draw a conclusion. The market is responding. Like, are you serious right now?
Are you serious? I mean, like I said,
paying attention?
There is uncertainty there. Yeah,
Well, you think? Normally you want to see a 15% return, not a 15% decline.
Well, just right now, just the market right now, you don't know what...
I know every time Donald Trump opens his mouth and does something extremely stupid, such as tariffs on other countries, I don't have to give you anything. You can literally look at the numbers, you idiot.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
what numbers are you looking at? The Mickey Mouse stock return numbers?
Cheesecake.
Just look at the numbers, yes.
The numbers show that the S&P is down 15% year to almost 14% year to date.
Current short-term.
Jesus ain't Christ.
Reaction.
But you also have to you have to look historically as well, right? Like when you look at historically, every single Republican party that went and tried to use tariffs to solve a problem, crumbled economically. Like the only times America's been in a trade surplus has been really, really bad times, like the Depression, right? And so Hanson, when I say it's lighter fluid, when you look at the Canada-America relationship, 99 point something of that trade, which was from your biggest customer, was tax-free, tariff-free, right? And your biggest customer, who proportionately per capita purchased way more than America purchased per capita, right? And more guns and drugs and illegal immigrants come into Canada than from the U.S. than from Canada to the U.S. So Hanson, when I say it's a lighter fluid to go and destroy that relationship, completely tank your biggest customer who now refuses to buy from you, doesn't want to travel to you, isn't that lighter fluid?
We are kind of...
Yeah, what is going outside?
It's the other way around.
Hanson, okay, let's double click on that. Let's double click on that. So Canada buys $350 billion of stuff from America with 1/8 the population and economy. Okay, 1/8. We buy $350 billion. America, with 8 times the population and economy, buys $450 billion $450 billion worth of stuff from Canada, and mostly because we sell you a shit ton of undermarket cheap energy. So how is that a problem? Why is that Canada from you? We have 1/8 the economy, and we purchase
our biggest customer, right? And then, Canada, why is Canada putting such high tariffs
on what? On what?
On dairy.
Okay, so let's talk about dairy. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about dairy. That's a great comment. So the biggest purchaser of American dairy outside of America is Canada. We are your biggest customer, right? And you know that 99% of that dairy has no tariff? Like, you know that, right? Like, you know that the 280% tariff that Trump talks about only kicks in once you reach a certain threshold of dairy sales in Canada. And do you know why you can't meet that threshold in America? It's because your milk is so polluted with white blood cells from infected cow and human growth hormones.
Canadian customers to decide. You can put
no, we don't, because we
Canadian customers decide.
Because the same reason we don't let lead in our food products, man, because we have certain standards, and American farms can't produce milk that meets our health standard. No, we don't want to put a label that says this milk will kill you. Like, what are you talking about? You guys can't sell enough milk because your milk isn't clean enough. You don't pay those tariffs.
Use that, like I said, if you don't.
And then Trump signed that free trade agreement.
Content, you don't have the time, and you don't want to have to be a master editor. You want to share your expertise, your knowledge, and share the cool projects you're working on.
Please.
Hanson, so in your opinion, in case of Canada, is Donald Trump through negotiation promoting free trade?
Yes. And it also.
Oh, okay. In that case, if Canada
is a auto parts trade going through Chinese auto parts going through through Canada to the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in that case, if Donald Trump is promoting free trade, if Canada removes the restriction, which is not, as Jeremy already explained, is not there, but let's say completely removes the restrictions on dairy, would Donald Trump remove the auto tariffs, the 25%?
Auto tariff, if Canada also I can't tell. Cut off the Chinese. I can't tell. It just looks like things are changing. Imports going through Canada to U.S. Then yes.
You're aware, right, that this is a single market, and Canada is abiding by the single market rules of the USMCA, which are American companies that choose the supplier in a free market environment. Right, so it is already a free market.
No, because Chinese auto parts sellers are going through Canada to go into U.S. market.
Okay, in that case, why put tariff on all car production rather than only renegotiate it about and make it about auto tariffs?
Say it again.
So why tariff all the single market of cars rather than specifically?
Say it again. I mean, why the tariff?
Why tariff the whole car sector, right, rather than the problematic auto parts?
Yeah, I mean that's what they're doing. So you don't. China cannot.
Maybe she had weight on her and then lost it. One time that happened. She say calling somebody old. Damn up. You just spell it out for me.
Like dating, basically.
The dating?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not about auto parts. It's not about the milk. The 25 tariffs, he said, is permanent because, again, they're trying to bring back manufacturing, right? Canadians have already laid off Canadians, not Chinese, right, from factories because of this, right? You're not aware?
Well, the thing is, the can laid off what automakers? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Auto assembly facility.
900 in the U.S. and Canada has done it as well. Yep.
Is it Chinese?
No, it's U.S. automakers, workers, and Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah. What
no
about
Chinese.
Okay.
China's thriving. BYD is the biggest electric car company in the world. No one knows that in North America because we have this little inclusionist tight auto market that we protect each other with, all three of us, or we did. Now we're talking about China. I might be driving a BYD electric car next year.
Well, that's what the thing is trying to prevent the BYD to sell in North America, right?
The BYD is already prevented from now. Hanson, how does this?
So I don't know what Jeremy is talking about then. He's trying to prevent
why nobody in North America buys BYD cars is because of tariffs against Chinese car makers. And now, because of what Trump did, Canada and Mexico are going to go and have deals with China and buy their cars. Like with us. So what we go to China.
So how does this promote free trade?
What?
How does this promote free trade? You're defending tariffs.
Yes, because tariffs, one thing is you want to trade with the partners who, with the same ideology. Yes, because we're trying to stem the flow of Chinese goods.
There is no Chinese goods.
There is.
Oh my God.
There is going through China and Canada and
a 16-year-old white male, and he was charged or is in the process of being charged with first-degree murder. Again, that's in consultation with the local state attorney's office.
Set up the factory in Mexico and Canada and all going through Canada.
Hassan, you are neoliberal, Hayekian.
You need to contact him. You need to be making
free trade. Anti-mercantilist. What has happened to you? How far have you fallen? You're defending smooth, level tariffs
want to trade
on the world economy.
Same ideology, not a participant.
Do penguins have the same ideology as Americans?
No, you want to trade. Okay, so that is the problem, right? If you want to trade with someone who do not respect private property rights and respect the sanctity of the contract.
Canada doesn't respect it?
No,
You see, you're trying to.
Trump broke his agreement. Literally the way that Trump broke the agreement he signed.
Okay, China.
Okay, tariff China. We're not talking about China.
That respects private property rights and.
Sure, we're not talking about China. The tariffs were imposed on the rest of the world, including allies of the United States. The conversation is not about China.
Right? Two layers. Okay, I already said earlier. Two layers that serve two purposes. One is to wall off China. Two is to make use it as a negotiation tactics for the trading partner to lower their tariff, and then
the tariff are lowered during the free market agreement.
No, we are not.
I mean, how is it walling off China?
Canada and United States are not in a free market agreement.
No, when you have a backdoor for a party that does not respect the private property rights, then that's
walling off China.
Put a tariff on Canada. Do not accept. Put a tariff on China. Do not accept Chinese goods wherever they come from. That's your problem. You have a free market agreement with Canada and Mexico. Why are you tariffing them?
They're letting in
That's
China.
Their business. They are in a free market.
Not. It's because the accord is you cannot have.
How is that consistent with free market ideology? That's a different country. You cannot impose
have a backdoor
choices on them.
The corruption seeps in.
So it's not free trade. It's an ideological trade.
That is
right?
a self-defeating system.
So it's not free trade because America is picking and choosing who another country can trade with.
You're just reading text, without getting the essence. So if you trade with a robber, is that free trade? If you trade with a robber and who wants to extract the,
I think
by robber, I'm assuming you mean your
trade environment.
Yeah, in agreement, yeah. Sorry, John.
I think who I trade with in a free trade environment has nothing to do with you in the United States, Hanson. That's the definition of free trade, right?
No, because you're putting on, if you let somebody can you give me the definition of the word free? And then that's trafficking, okay? That's trafficking.
Trafficking?
So yes.
What the hell has happened to this guy? He was free trade.
Let me try a different tack, maybe. Let me try a different tack. So Hanson, let me ask you this, brother. Let me ask you this.
Without getting the essence.
Let me try this, Hanson. So recently, because of the tariffs, when a Canadian businessman was trying to take one of his machines to a trade show, he was denied 4 times to enter the country, right? Because he couldn't define how much of the aluminum in his machine came from Canada. And so he had to go to a notary and then a broker to define exactly how much so that he could pay the tariff on the aluminum in his little machine that he was taking to a trade show, right? And so if you assume the story I'm telling is true, and it is, you can go check it out, the U.S. government and Border Control has the means to stop things coming in from Canada that don't have, that might have Chinese goods or might have not the right percentage of things, right? And so to say that all these car parts are flooding in to America from China through Canada, like, do you have any proof to back that up? Anything?
Yeah.
Anything to back that up, man, other than just Fox News?
Yeah, let me, not from Fox News, let me get, last time when I got an expert, actually a businessman, in the room, and you guys they basically didn't let him speak. All right.
Is that your reference? Can you produce something? I'm sorry. Also, who's buying all these Chinese parts in the United States? Is that Chinese buying Chinese parts in the United States? Chinese citizens are buying Chinese parts and smuggling it through Canada to the United States?
I think is that like Canadian companies are buying Chinese parts and then relabeling them as Canadian and then selling them into the U.S. cars.
China is setting up the either factories or the transition port in Canada and Mexico, particularly in Mexico.
What are you talking about?
To grab through the tariff and then use the free trade zone precisely to use exploit this free trade zone system.
So we are against capital investments by China and Mexico or Canada.
Yeah,
Why?
like I said, it's we have different ideology. They have it's corruption of this free trade system.
So setting up a factory in Mexico is corruption of the free trade.
Well, because
system.
there's routing the Chinese product and car parts through the Canada and Mexico.
But isn't it made in Mexico car parts? Should you just have a international corporation to set it up in Mexico?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think that's good rationale for a global recession, but okay.
So if it complies, if the wait, can you produce anything on this? Like anything, please?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what's funny, Philip, is this is the same arguments they use for the Penguin Island. Like Trumpers are literally coming online, and it's hard to say this without laughing, but they're saying the reason Trump put the tariffs on the Penguin Islands was because to block companies from using those Penguin Islands as like hot points to shuffle non-tariff goods into America. And when I was presented with that argument, I was like, yeah, but guys, like, there's not even a post office. Like, there's no roads. There's like, you can't like throw up manufacturing there or even like funnel goods from there.
Yeah,
because there's nothing there.
Islands. This is the first time I heard of it.
So when he put his little list in the garden there of tariffs that he was going to apply on countries, he listed 2 islands that have no humans, like and a 10% tariff on those islands. There's only penguins. There's no infrastructure. There's no people. I think it's like a 7-hour flight from Perth, Australia, to get there, and he put 10% up there, right? And what's insane is that most of the numbers he put up that he said were tariffs and trade barriers. So he went to China and said, hey, there's a 36% tariff and trade barrier on American goods going into China. So we're going to put a 36% tariff on China. You know how he calculated that? He took the trade imbalance between the 2 countries, divided it, and then times it by 1,000. Or times it by 100, and that was his percentage. That was what he claimed was a tariff. A trade imbalance is not a tariff. It's not. It just means that you like enough of the shit that country makes that you buy a lot of it. Like, how is that robbing you? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, and there are reasons to do that. Like, we just really like coffee from country X. They have a super small market. You're obviously going to have a trade imbalance from company X or country X.
Mm-hmm. Or you get a lot of really cheap energy because you happen to live next to someone who has a lot of energy to produce. Right, or softwood lumber. Trump's first term put a softwood lumber tariff on Canadian lumber. The result was not Americans growing more softwood lumber. Americans can't. You don't produce quality or volume in softwood lumber. The result was that America just went and bought a lot more from Europe and Russia. And Russian softwood lumber is North Korean slave labor. They use North Korean slave labor to produce that.
It's almost like there's this economic thing called a comparative advantage, and that trade might actually benefit everyone.
Yeah, but when you have a system that respects property rights and the contracts.
So Canada respected the free trade agreement. America didn't. So what's Canada doing wrong, Hanson?
Letting in the Chinese goods.
No, but that's something you heard on the news, man. That's not something that's actually happening.
Like I said, it's not, all right?
So if we didn't have,
So was there arbitration under the USMCA or WTO rules?
Well, that's now that great that you brought up the WTO. Mm-hmm. All right. So WTO, when China was assessed to WTO, they promised under the negotiation, promised a lot of things, the 20 items, but they never carry out the what they promised whatsoever.
So was there a lawsuit?
Well, there were arbitration, but they never complied. Okay, so that's the point.
Is there a lawsuit saying that the outcome of which that they didn't
when
comply?
you have a country like because China, there's not much WTO organization can do. That's the point.
So is there a ruling in which China hasn't complied with WTO?
Oh yes. All the arbitration, and then you have they promise to open up the financial sectors, and then promise to the telecommunication. All those promises they never carried it out.
I'm sorry, China had amended the domestic IP laws and complied with WTO panel decision in another one on intellectual property, on
right.
another one with the
all
U.S.
the
lawsuit. Yeah.
U.S. Intellectual property theft, then you will law them for complying with the intellectual property rights. That's great. I mean, you're Hayekian followers, and you just follow the letters, but not the idea.
I'm sorry, shouldn't those things be decided by an impartial organization?
Well, which one?
Yeah.
Which one? You kind of ideal. You have an ideal. Maybe Mars on Mars. That's or Alpha Centaurian.
Well, there is the USMCA between Canada and United States. Did United States file anything for arbitration?
WTO? Yes, of course.
What was filed against Canada under USMCA?
The thing is not this.
Against Canada under USMCA.
We were talking about the WTO against China, right? Don't shift the topic.
Well, the China, I told you there were two rulings, both of them China complied.
Which one?
2017 intellectual property law.
Well, they are not. They're not complying, right? I mean, all they have so many.
They amended their law.
Violations, and then they never open up the telecommunications sectors and finance sectors and all that what they promised in 2000, right?
What telecommunications?
Telecommunications sector industry.
What laws? There isn't a lawsuit on telecommunications or arbitration or.
It's not about arbitration. They promise. It's at the accession to the WTO, and everything they promised they didn't carry the promises out.
Who's speaking in absolutes now, Hanson? Like
it is
again.
Well, they didn't. There's no telecommunication company in U.S. telecommunication company in China. There's no the finance banks operating in China. They don't even. They're not even open to the foreign exchange trading in China, and then they're not say options trading in China. Nothing.
I mean, if you wanted to go against China, wouldn't it have made perhaps more sense to get a trading bloc of your friends and exclude China? You know, something like the TPP.
Not working,
the
right?
TPP.
Yeah.
Well, we backed away. We literally backed away. Let me finish. We literally backed away from our biggest effort to do that under the first Trump administration when we backed away from the TPP. The whole concept behind the TPP was to create a huge Asian trading bloc to isolate China economically and trade by kind of rules that we created. Like this whole thought that you're going to punish the whole world and think that that's going to create a shield for China, it's going to do quite the opposite. It's going to push everybody into China's hands because they are the reliable partner now. They are the reliable economic partner now.
Reliable partner.
So,
everyone, I mean, like I said before, they never carry out their promise and everything is, and they're also the ceding IPs, and I don't know
where have Okay,
been,
so
in the
United
last
States,
20
Canada,
years,
Sweden,
and they
Finland,
never,
Germany, France, and Japan, and South Korea
stealing
are invested.
IPs all along for 2 decades.
You're wrong,
More than 2
Hanson.
decades.
Telecom sector has a lot of foreign investment in China.
Not foreign,
including the United
yes.
States,
You can have foreign
Canada,
investment,
Sweden.
okay? So they're asking you to go in there, but only in joint ventures and then transferring of technology.
Correct. China claims.
So they promised to, at the beginning of the session, they promised to phase out very quickly, but they never did. And then you can have money inside, but you can never. Same occurs in financial sectors. You cannot have over 51% holding shares in any financial entities.
Yeah, if you can use a WTO national
You
security.
cannot.
The United States regularly does that.
22 decades, it never worked.
The United States regularly
you can
use the
always
exception.
wait, and you can wait until you die, and nothing will happen.
As a middle-income country that is developing,
well,
they can do that.
Developing for 20. Philip, are you American or?
Why does it matter for the purposes of the
yeah, because you're not taking the brunt of it. So yeah, of course you don't care.
Well, in a free market, I don't care who takes the brunt of it.
Yeah, because if somebody's got cheated, right, and so long as you're not the cheated party, then of course you don't care.
Oh, I have some real mag.
I mean, he was a Hayekian free market.
Hayek,
now he's a central planner. Now he's centrally planning the world economy.
Hayek is based on the principle of respecting private property, protection of private property rights, and upholding the contract. If either of these pillars falters, then there's no free market.
Keep going.
You don't trade with a robber.
Keep going.
Crash.
Who's the robber?
China.
How about Lesotho?
Who?
Lesotho.
Lesotho.
It's the diamond exporter in Africa.
Any reply, Hanson?
Well, I don't know. I don't care about Lesotho.
Oh, so so it's a free market.
I don't know about
also free market until you don't care about the specific place.
Straw that you can crawl on. Yeah, now you're originally. Tucker just saved you.
It's Tucker Hansen, as in toucan, and Carlson, as in bicep curl.
Yeah, whatever.
Hanson, I don't need to say
Well, why is it Tucker? Is it touch?
Because it's spelled like Tucker, as in toucan.
Well, what about touch?
English.
What about touch?
Crush.
No, it's Tucker, as in toucan.
Yeah,
it's my name, man. It's my name. I get to define my own name. You don't get to define my name.
Don't tell me it's about English pronunciation.
Hey, Hanson. Hey, Hanson.
Dude, honestly, the guy thinks that tariffs are free trade. You think he can manage to say your name correctly? Doubtful.
Hey, respect my contract, man. My name's Tucker.
No, I didn't sign a contract with you.
Okay, Bob.
Okay, Hanson, behave.
Yeah, Philip, behave. Read Hayek better.
Sure. Okay. I'm not the one proposing centrally planning U.S. World economy, so I don't think I need to do that.
Nobody's upholding. Nobody's advocating central plan. Maybe you are.
Except for you, Shirley.
Tucker, is it really a contract if your name is not in all caps referencing the corporation?
It's got to be in bold too, actually. Yeah, you're right.
And some Greek letters. So, Jason, what do you think about the tariffs?
Man, I don't know what to think. I hope this works out.
What does working out look like?
It means you can buy a Toyota Tundra 100% made in the USA for a reasonable price. That's, if it's working out, that's what it would look like.
Do you feel the same about like socks and t-shirts, Jason?
Yes, in fact, all of my socks and shirts and boots and luggage are all very compliant, made in the USA with made in USA fabric, zippers, thread, buttons. Nearly everything I wear is 100% made in the USA.
So, Jason, how do you square it with your, if I remember correctly, like adherence to Adam Smith? And, we talked a little about Adam Smith. Isn't to like Adam Smith is very anti-mercantilist. How is your position shifted or changed? Are you anti-Adam Smith? Are you in a mercantilist camp now?
Well, I don't think this is about consumer welfare. It's about strategic industries. It's about independence. And Adam Smith does, in I think the last book of The Wealth of Nations, talk about how in England's case, for example, it's important to have tariffs on shipping and shipbuilding because of the strategic importance of those two industries to England, which if they didn't make a real effort there, it's possible that Holland, for example, would have outbuilt them, would have taken away their shipping industry or diminished it in some capacity. So there's definitely no way in which this will improve consumer welfare, but it does improve the industrial capacity of the United States if it works out. And industrial capacity is important for strategic reasons. So I would say it's not that I'm anti-Adam Smith. It's that, there's different counsel for different problems. If we want consumer welfare, yeah, free trade is the best possible option. But consumer welfare is not the only thing we have to think about.
So I would take your. I don't necessarily disagree that you want to protect some industries. Especially national security. You should be concerned about where your defense supply chain lies, and you should make sure it either lies in your country or your close allies. So I would concede that point, and tariffs would be a way to make sure that occurs. But those tariffs look far more targeted. When you tariff blanket like we've done, you're not exactly doing that. And the other point is there is something to competition when you tariff blanketly. You take your products out of international competition. Your products get shittier. I mean, there's a reason why the consumer market in Soviet Union, the consumer market in North Korea is shit because they don't have to have international competition.
Yeah, which is also why BYD is the biggest car company in the world.
Jason, do you think Adam Smith would support Jones Act in the United States if we're talking about shipbuilding?
I think he would support the idea or the goal. I'm not sure he would support the means that are. He would support the end. I'm not sure he would support the means. The Jones Act is a great example of one of these weird compromises. But if we don't make it, it's very easy to see where that would lead. And there would be no American shipping companies. There would be basically no American shipbuilding unless we did something else. I'm not saying there's not a better idea than the Jones Act out there, but I'm saying doing nothing is not a great idea.
Okay. What about taxing? Jeremy, one second. Jeremy. Yeah, let me just wrap it up. Jason, do you think how much of the world shipbuilding capacity is United States?
Do I think how much, or
do you know how much? Sorry, do you know how much of world shipbuilding capacity is United States by percentage?
no? I do not. It's not very much.
Yes.
3%.
Want to guess, Jason?
Well, I mean, this is really not. This is turning into some other kind of conversation.
No,
like
I'm just saying.
goat conversation.
Yeah, no, it's the result of the Jones Act, right? Like the U.S. shipbuilding capacity is something like 0.2% of world shipbuilding.
I don't know that that's the result of the Jones Act.
It is.
I think Jason makes a good point. We have, the famous shipbuilding countries: China, Korea, Japan, Vietnam. They have, this is a subsidized heavy industry. What does that have to do with the Jones?
What do you mean?
Can you support your claim, please?
The Jones Act has kept an industry basically operational, an industry that doesn't need to exist, right? Or it actually needs a heavy intervention, but because everybody in the industry is basically satisficing on a certain level, and it's dominated by corrupt lobbies, that it's basically impossible to untangle the Jones Act from because of the politics surrounding it. The industry has been in decline for quite some time because of it, because of the requirement of the Jones Act, right? Last time they tried to build ships was
I think you're conflating the American the shipping ocean shipping with the Jones Act. Yeah, and that's kind of true. We don't have American liner companies other than Matson. Matson is the company that runs the line from California to Hawaii, Alaska to
Yeah.
They do these domestic routes, right?
Yeah, and the domestic routes.
Ocean freight is not really who cares about ocean freight? The issue is if we have to build naval vessels, can we do it? And I think it's kind of a mixed thing. I mean, we can use the Koreans. We have some military shipbuilding capacity. We don't really have capacity to build a modern container ship, or at least to do many.
Well, the last time you tried to build it, you had to ship it to Germany, so it's finished there because it was over budget and overextended. And then you had to pass a specific authorization, so it's retroactively labeled American, so that American producers, shippers can actually use it, because otherwise it would be banned under Jones Act.
Yeah, I think the contract.
But Philip, I think you have to compare it to the next best alternative, which, as far as I can tell, does not look good, which is simply that the U.S. has no commercial shipbuilding capacity.
That's not the best.
And travel between U.S. ports is not done with American ships or American sailors. I mean, what is an alternative that is better?
If America has shipping from cheap ships built in cheap countries, like same thing that comes from cheap T-shirts and cheap.
I mean, if you didn't put the Jones Act in place, you would have you would have had an American shipping or American shipbuilding industry that essentially had to compete, and it could probably have found ways to compete and develop. I think quite the opposite would have occurred without the Jones Act. You would still have a somewhat of a domestic shipbuilding, just like you have a domestic car building industry, but your supply chain might be more international and all that sort of stuff. I mean, the Jones Act in kind of isolating shipbuilding has done nothing but kind of hamper industrial capacity.
Well, so this is a question of fact, right? And that one of the since we can't actually go out and read that fact off because it's a counterfactual, we have to ask what facts, make that up and allow us to, what are the constituent facts of that fact, as it were. But it seems like we have a disagreement of fact here. I don't think that's actually plausible. I think it's more likely that the American shipbuilding industry would simply have disappeared or become even more nascent than it is, in the same way that many other productive industries have become more nascent. But, if the facts are right, if they support your conclusion, then yeah, that's a better alternative than the Jones Act. And then the question is, how do we know which one is true?
Well, yeah, post World War II, right, and during the World War II, United States caught up to Britain and Japan in shipbuilding. I think they were basically Britain was dominating for some time, and then Japan started. The United States, because of state investment, right, and quite smart policy of competition, was producing record amount of ships. So America was able to do this before, right? The problem with the Jones Act is that it creates this type of basically a monopoly that nobody needs to do anything. Nobody needs to innovate. Nobody needs to compete with foreign producers. The demand is static. The demand is going to be there. It's a horrible policy.
Well, so you're saying before World War II or during World War II and after, is that right?
Yes.
And the U.S. had very great shipbuilding capacity.
Yep.
And I guess I don't think this means much of anything. I mean, the U.S. had a lot of industrial capacity of all different kinds following the war, but a lot of it we lost as other countries developed through a combination of, in some cases, just some intrinsic advantages. One interesting anecdote from the TSMC founders' biography is that when they started building semiconductors in East Asia, the air rates were lower. It's just it's an open question why, but this is not a matter of cheap labor or something. They just made fewer errors. Staff made somewhat fewer errors. And so due to some intrinsic advantages, but also due to other, structural advantages, low labor costs, I suppose what you might call the development acceleration dividend or whatever, the government having particular interests in particular industries in these countries, being willing to subsidize them and so on. And so America lost many industries, industries which during World War II and immediately following, we were, the greatest producer in the world in these industries. Ships, semiconductors, there's many industries like that. So I don't think the facts you've marshaled really help us decide one way or the other.
Look, I think when the policy just doesn't accomplish what its stated purpose is, it's time to remove the policy and rethink it, right? That's just a basic test. I think you're not accepting that test, so I'm giving you historical examples why the United States can do it and has done it historically. That was my added thing. But the main point is that the policy didn't accomplish what it was supposed to accomplish, which was to protect American maritime capacity. It obviously failed at it.
Well, this, Philip, is not a rational way to evaluate policy. You have to evaluate policy relative to the next best alternative.
Who was the last person? I apologize. Who's the last person?
Jason was speaking.
Maritime. I know. It's just.
I was speaking, and then you'll have a chance. You'll have a chance to speak, okay? But we are not going to have much of a conversation if we try it that way.
I know. It's just.
Well, then you please go on mute for a second. Thank you. Okay. So you have to evaluate policies relative to the next best alternative. If doing nothing is the next best alternative, then you evaluate it relative to that. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, what do I expect the result to be of doing nothing? And in many cases, sure, the result of doing nothing is not worse. So then do nothing because, hey, it costs less, right? And, all things being equal, if you're not going to make a difference, then at least don't waste the taxpayers' money. But the Jones Act has preserved maritime capacity in the United States. There is maritime capacity in the United States. It is restricted to shipping between parts of the United States, but it does do that.
There is two-digit numbers of ships operating under Jones Act, barely. That's not preserving any capacity, right? As
a matter of fact, it is preserving it. If you consider that the alternative would be there's no ships operating under under the U.S. flag, or one or two.
No.
Those are questions of fact.
That's not correct. There's many tanker ships. Are you talking about one specific kind of ship? Because we have a lot of. There's actually quite a number of ships. Some of them are very small.
Can be the kilo. 56 tankers and 23 container ships.
Well, guys, like I said in the comments, the real question is regarding global trade, not domestic trade. Yeah, shipping in the United States is going to be no problems whatsoever. If you study any economics and heard of the realist school, this is the entire premise of it.
Realist school in economics?
He's drunk.
Look, see, the Jones Act is about domestic shipping, and that's what Philip and I were discussing, was the Jones Act in some detail.
Yeah.
There are other topics to discuss, but Philip is trying to persuade me that the Jones Act is no good and should be eliminated, and it is not better than the next best alternative.
No, I understand.
Okay, well,
that's a minor detail, actually, to me.
He's drunk.
Again, for problems of the world. No. For problems
of
the world.
CM, can you please excuse it?
I haven't even been allowed to talk.
Philip, please use violence on CM. Use force. Thank you. Stop resist.
Yeah, I think it's very. There's a lot of issues around U.S. Maritime capacity. You're talking about various types of shipbuilding, including military, non-military, transport, tankers, liners, the container ships. There's so many types. Most of the shipping is international. Americans don't want to be working on ships. That's why we hire, we have Filipinos and other foreigners, Indians, deliver our container goods to us. So it's kind of a tricky thing because Americans really don't want to be in this sector. It's very hard, dangerous, dirty work. But we need the capacity to support the U.S. Navy and to support military far away, because we have a mandate. You have to have merchant marine ships move military equipment. So it's just it's a very complicated issue. It's not like one facet of it. It's multifaceted.
Yeah, but let me ask you, William. I'm not sure about this point. I understand our labor cost is higher than in general, in other locations, but it was the union a problem as well. The union that enjoy extralegal privileges or monopolistic positions that adds another layer of cost to the labor.
Well, probably
Yeah.
it does, but Americans don't want to. Like I'm telling you, Americans don't want to go venture on the seas for half the year. Like the work conditions they suck.
They do, but people work on oil rigs. You know, if it were paid like that, they would probably do it. You know, and maybe for national security reasons, that's how we should handle it. There's a lot of questions to raise there. But I do want to say I appreciate talking with you guys. I hope we'll have a chance to talk about all of this again. And, I'll see you all around the app.
See you.
Great. Yeah. I'll take off as well. Philip, it's great. Have we talked before, or I don't remember?
We have more or less. Yep.
We have?
Yep.
Okay,
Not a lot.
cool. Not a lot, yeah. We'll talk more later, maybe. And we'll dig more into the hierarchy and other Austrian school economics.
Okay. See you around.
See you around.
Bye, Shirley. Go to her.
What happens to free market neoliberals? Jesus Christ.
I was curious. It's the first time I've heard him speak since the tariffs were put in place. I was wondering whether his ideological commitments or his Trump sycophantism would win out. Turns out Galaxy Brain gets you both at once.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? He said higher trade barriers will lead to lower trade barriers. That was the logic.
I don't know how Donald Trump manages to project this type of, I don't know, distortion field on people's brains.
Yeah, it's quite a power. Quite a power.
The neoliberal Cato Institute, everybody like else, all neoliberal think tanks are kind of leading anti-tariff voice even more than kind of the progressive wing, I guess. Kind of having a moment, and it's just so weird to, encounter a self-described neoliberal with this position.
Well, the progressives were always a little more protectionist. I think, obviously not this particular tariff policy, but, in terms of protectionism generally, I always kind of viewed the MAGA movement as more aligned with the progressive wing of democratic politics than people within MAGA would like to admit.
Yeah, there is that. I was looking at Twitter, Sohrab Ahmari defending tariffs, and I don't know if one can call him progressive, but he's William, tell me, where is Sohrab Ahmari on American political scale?
He's kind of a weirdo. Of course, his mother was I guess she was an immigrant. My friend used to go with him to protests, left-wing protests in high school. Kind of funny, right? Back in Logan, Utah. So before he was whatever the hell he is now, he was kind of a young leftist.
Trotskyist. Let me guess, Trotskyist.
Well, I can't be that precise. Yeah, then he was atheist. Now he's fat calf. It's all very cringe and kind of very fake. This is the world of JD Vance. People like Sohrab Ahmari. It's so. But look, these people want to overthrow Iran. They want to see who knows what happened there. See, kind of very strange stuff.
They are 5 minutes away from quoting from Karl Marx. But like, given their overall rhetoric about the stock market decline is going to only hurt the rich people and 1%.
Yeah, it's
and
actually
not the workers.
yeah. People, people can say anything crazy stuff on here, at the whatever. But people are saying things on Twitter that are truly incredible. And I feel like if you take the time to type out a message and save it like that, if you're still on board with this policy, you just completely lost. Like up until Liberation Day, you could sort of make a rationalization that we're going to do, gradual tariffs. You're going to right-size the trade balance, whatever. But I think it's completely insane the way it's been implemented here, and there's really no fixing the damage it's done to the U.S.
Yeah, the Economist. I don't subscribe to the Economist, so I only got the headline of this, but some new survey about the percentage of Americans who would categorize the European Union and Canada as unfriendly or as an enemy have skyrocketed. I don't know the percentages, but it's just wild to me, like the directionality to consider, like Canada of all, like Canada, like people who Americans routinely refer to as Americans because we can't tell the difference between Canadians and Americans. Now you think they're unfriendly or an enemy is just like crazy, and just like, I don't know. I mean, the lack of understanding about the transatlantic alliance and NATO has been boggling me for going on a decade now. So it's very odd.
Those communists in Canada.
Right. God forbid the takeover.
Well, he's not calling Mark Carney governor, so there is that.
Don't give him any ideas. What are you doing, Philip?
Dark, let's go check what's happening on Clubhouse.
What, sorry? Oh, we can end the room, yeah. I'm just playing a video.
Okay, see everyone.
Have a good one.